session, we'll have Professor Edwin Moise, if he could. We're going to talk about the war aspect of this conflict.
I think I can bellow loud enough. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be very much in the spirit that Tayo announced ahead of time, because I am not particularly optimistic about the prospects for peace. Essentially because I see no attainable process by which a peace in people's thoughts can be achieved. Any ceasefire that ends with one side in a state of rage and desire for revenge for what happened in the last non-ceasefire is a very dubious stability. And Israel is unlikely to give very great concessions to Palestinians as long as the Israelis know that the Palestinians hate Israel and would like to destroy it, and would cheerfully use concessions as tools toward that goal. And it's hard for the Palestinians to give up their rage and hatred when every encounter is humiliating. You have Israel's overwhelming military power. There are basically, well, Israel might, in theory, simply bludgeon the Palestinians into submission, where they would simply give up wanting to try. But that would require a level of brutality so far beyond anything that Israel has been doing that I do not think it is a possibility, and I certainly hope it is not a possibility. And if the Palestinians are not to be bludgeoned into submission, there would have to be some encounter that left them not wanting revenge. And there's actually a model for that. Israel has not only been fighting the Palestinians, it has been fighting the surrounding Arab countries. And in the late 1940s, after the proclamation of the State of Israel, there was a war in which Israel defeated and humiliated Egypt and Jordan and Syria. And then there was the war in 1956 in which Israel defeated and humiliated Egypt. And then there was the war of 1967 in which Israel defeated and humiliated Egypt and Jordan and Syria. And then there was the war of 1973, the Yom Kippur War, in which the Arabs were not so humiliated. The Egyptians in particular did not feel at the end of this war that they had been humiliated. They thought they put up a reasonably respectable performance, and it really scared the Israelis. Israel had come rather close to what would have been for Israel a hideous defeat. And the interesting thing about this was that it made possible an actual peace between Egypt and Israel. The Egyptians were not filled with rage and hatred because they'd been humiliated. They actually felt pretty decently about what had happened. And this made it psychologically possible for Egypt to make peace with Israel. And peace was made, and Israeli tourists can now go and have vacations in beach resorts in Egypt. The only way the Palestinians are going to come anywhere close to winning a military encounter with Israel is if the Israelis hold back. And that's humiliating. Somebody who fights you with one hand behind his back is just about as enraging as somebody who beats the expletive to lead it out of. And I do not see a good model for how to lower the level of underlying hostility, which which is why I'm not holding my breath, waiting for a better outcome in any of this. Sorry, Tayo.
It's okay.
But I warned you ahead of time.
I still love you. I still respect you.
Yes. I think a psychological piece will be extremely hard to attain. And in the absence of a psychological piece, a prolonged ceasefire will be hard to attain. And this is one reason I'm glad I'm not a specialist in this. I don't have to spend all my time thinking about it. I can devote most of my time to parts of the world where the prognosis is not quite so gloomy.